Hi there, my name is Cassandra, and I'm making this video to talk to you about the curriculum Come Sit By Me, Volume 1 Revised Edition. It is a Canadian Unit study program, which means that it includes Canadian picture books, a whole unit on Canada, and includes our culture, which is great. It is for ages 4 to 7. This is great if you have many kids. I have 4 children, but I use this mainly to teach my 6-year-old and my 3-year-old at the time. It is broken up into 36 weeks with one book per week under a certain unit, and it has weekly activities, and that means you can schedule it from September to June like a regular school year, or it's very flexible and fun, so you can customize it any which way you choose, which is also why I like it. So let's dig in. So when you get it, you get this book. This is what the curriculum comes with. Yours will be in better condition than mine. And it's broken up into unit studies. Unit studies means you have one topic, and under that topic or umbrella, you have 4 or 5 weeks of different activities. So it's broken up into these ones. So I Can Do It, Self-Esteem Life Skills, Cats and Dogs Unit, which is a poetry unit, the Inuit teaches social studies, Let It Snow is a science unit, Canada is a coast-to-coast geography unit, Grandparents is a history and family life unit, and the classics is a literature unit, and counting up and down is a math unit. On these units and the area of studies that Come Sit By Me cover are writing, vocabulary, science, geography, social studies, phys ed, music, art, practical living, Bible. So it is Christian based, which I personally love. So I can include biblical activities and verses. However, if you're not Christian, this still works great too, because you can just skip over these activities and you can manipulate the activities to fit who you are, what your family life's about, and how much effort you want to put into it. If you want to do 3 activities per the week or do a Monday to Friday thing, I love how it fits your schedule, especially when you have many children at the same time. This also includes math and reading. I found with this curriculum, the math and reading I supplemented for my older child, so I didn't really do those kind of activities using this. However, my younger child enjoyed the math and reading and in this book. So when you get this book, right, it comes with some blank pages that I suggest you photocopy. So this is the school year schedule page that you should photocopy. And this is finding the picture books. So you need about 36 picture books, I believe, because it's 1 per week for each unit, right? So the first unit is I Can Do It, and these would be the 5 books for that unit. And to find them, you might have to get them from your library. And if your library doesn't carry them, you'd have to request them. So that's a bit of a prep work I would do in the summer. Or the second option is Dion Rogers she lives, I believe, in Markham, runs a used bookstore, and I was able to rent all the books in one shot from her so that I had the books ready to go each week. And I plan on doing that again for volume 2 because it's a big time saver for me. But we will get into this. So like I said, I would photocopy these pages, and then what I would do is I would write down my school year schedule, right? So from September 9th to 13th that week, we're doing the I Can Do It unit, and that week we're reading Hurry Up Franklin. From September 16th to 20th, it's still the I Can Do It unit, and we're reading Franklin is Messy. As you can see, from December 2nd to 8th is the Inuit unit, and then I like to take a huge winter break, and that's what works for my family. Every family is different. However, this curriculum is geared towards, I'd say, the seasons, because in December there's a bunch of science experiments you need to do with snow. However, I mean, it's Canada, so February was just fine. And then here you can check off how you got all the books. And again, I was able to get them all in one shot. So that's basically your prep work for that. So let's turn to a unit. So the second unit in this book is called Cats and Dogs. So how does this work? Each unit, what you will do is you will create what's called a unit book. You will create a unit book, and it will cover the 5 weeks. And each week you will do an activity in that unit book. Now, bear with me. I will show you examples if you're a visual learner, but I'm just going to explain what I'm showing you in a second. So what is a unit book? A unit book is basically, there's 3 ways you can make it depending on the unit. There's simple books, which is basically You don't need much effort. Just honestly, staple a bunch of paper together. Here's your unit book, child decorate. Go ahead. We'll do each activity in this book. Shape books are, they're a little bit like simple books. They're fun to make and they're in the shape of something. So you choose a simple shape, which represents the topic of the book your child has written. So if you're doing the Inuit, for example, you can do the shape of an igloo for that unit, or a snowman for a book about snow. You can make a shape book like that. Then it gives other suggestions. I basically stuck between simple books and shape books for each unit. And again, I will show you that. So cats and dogs. So I like to prepare the week. First of all, I prepared getting all the books earlier than that. But I like to prepare the Sunday nights or the Saturdays because it's not that hard to prepare for. So I do it on the weekends and make sure I have everything I need to go for the rest of the week. So I would probably grab this on the Saturday and be like, okay, cats and dogs is our next unit. It's the poetry unit. And it explains like what books you need right here. So it's I Want a Dog, Sandwiches for Duke, Pussycats Everywhere, and The Klondike Cat. These were really fun books to read. Unfortunately, I have returned them already, but I made fake ones so that you can get the gist. So you would have these books. I had these books on my bookshelf or displayed on my fireplace mantle. And then I would make the unit book that's going to be covering the rest of the 5 weeks. So for this one, it's poetry. You can do a symbol book, a shape book, a hardcover book. And it walks you through everything in detail. And if you ever have any questions, you can PM me at any time. But step 1 would be like, with your child, decide on an animal theme for his poems. Lucky for me, my child's favorite animal was, at the time, horses. So what I did was, I'm just going to grab it for you, made a horse shape book. Which is not the easiest shape to make, but if I can do it, trust me, anyone can. And this is called Noah's Poetry Book of Horses. That's what he named it. And it even tells you here how to name it, right? So it's like you're never, like this is like, it will guide you. You don't feel overwhelmed at all. So step 2, during week 1, help your child create an acrostic poem. So it tells you each week what you'd be creating, right? And then step 3, during the second week, create a sequin poem. So for me, every Tuesday, we worked on the unit book. And it could take like just 5 minutes of something to do. And this one was a lot of fun. So it's Saturday night, and I got the books ready, like I showed you. And then it tells you here, so what you're supposed to do is read 1 book per week. It suggests you read the same book every day. My children would not sit there for the same book every day. So I would read I Want a Dog, and it gives you alternatives to read. If I Had a Dog, Everything Dog, Angus and the Cat. So you can get all these books, or like me, I just read the book once, usually on Monday, maybe on Friday again, but that was it. Because it was too redundant for my children to sit there. I Want a Dog. So here the author goes into like how the book relates to her, what the point of the book is, and it just gives you like a very personal feel, which is great. And then after this page, you have a bunch of activities to choose from. Again, you don't need to do everything. You don't even need to do one per day. I did because this was my sole curriculum for that. So there's character study, which is usually something biblical. There's math activities, language, geography activities, science activities, art outings, practical living activities that you can choose from. And then again, you have this page, which I already photocopied 4 of for this unit. And I will show you what that looks like. So this would have been blank, and I made 4 copies of this. So it's Saturday, Sunday night. What I'm doing is I'm like, okay, let's go through what I think my children would like, what activities. So I put check marks here, I put some here. I read through all the activities, choose which ones. If it's a busy week, we're not going to do as many as I'd like. If it's a slower week, we can do maybe more than what I like. I'm a type A personality, so everything I do is very intensive. But again, you can gear it to how you like. Then at the back of this book, there's also Bible verses for each book. So I Want a Dog is the book of the first week we would read. And this is the Bible verse. And what I would do is take this and I would put it on our whiteboard and we would read it in the morning. My older son would do copy work and my daughter would draw pictures going through what she thinks the Bible verse means to her. So back to the Saturday, Sunday night prep. So after I check off all these activities that I like to do, I grab my blank piece of paper and I write in the week. October 14th to 20th, this is what we're going to be doing for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. Again, you don't have to do day 1, day 2. You can just do day 1, day 2, whatever works for you. So I picked the activities. So day 1, we read the book. We read, I Want a Dog. Then we do an activity based on that book, which is walking a mile in someone else's shoes. Because in this story, the little girl May thinks up so many wonderful reasons that she should be allowed to have a dog, and her parents so many practical reasons not to get one. It is often very hard to understand and appreciate someone else's point of view, especially when we feel very strongly otherwise. So ask your child to try to defend an idea that they don't necessarily agree with. And this focus is teaching your kids how to learn to use words persuasively. It expands their vocabulary. So my son basically had to tell me why the Montreal Canadiens are a better team than the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is it was a huge obstacle for him, but he was able to accomplish this. My daughter could tell me why a triangle is a triangle and a square is a square. So you can adjust it to their age groups and what you know your child is capable of. That was a really fun thing to do. Simple, took 10 minutes. It expanded their vocabulary. They got to read a book. There was some memory copy verse from the Bible. Covered all of that. Same week, he wrote a dedication page in his unit book. I dedicate this poetry book to my dad, of course. And then same week we did a acrostic poem. And that's writing horse this way. And he wrote, horses are my favorite. I would like to own my own horse. Reading about horses is fun. Step 1 to taking care of a horse, eat food. This is really fun to come up with. I wrote for him at the time because he couldn't print at this time. But it was so fun to do, so simple. And again, this whole book will walk you through everything. The other things we did so the same week, I planned to visit a pet store, except when your child's favorite pet is a horse, I had to find someone that would let me go to their ranch to visit the horse. And so we did, and I will show you. So we went to go visit, and this is my children. See, my daughter, the younger one, and my son with the horse. And it was a great experience, even for me. I mean, I haven't seen horses since I think I was 8 years old, so it was a lot of fun to do. And so that is something that's how you can include basically all children. I mean, my third child came with us too, so it was a lot of fun. So that would be 1 week. And on the Sunday night, like I said, I would write down what we're going to do. I have an agenda. So under my agenda in October 14th to 20th, under Come Sit By Me, I wrote, Monday we do the unit book prep and we read this book. This is the activity for the Tuesday. Look, see, Wednesday I couldn't even get to the activity. I just crossed it off. It became a busy day that day. Thursday, acrostic poem, and Friday we did the walking a mile in someone else's shoes. So if I can't get to something, you alternate it, right? That's what's great about this. It is very, very flexible. And then you're done week 1. And you can write progress notes. I noticed my kids needed more art. So we move on to week 2. It's the exact same thing, but a different book that you read, but it is still the same unit shape book that you work with. So week 2, you read Sandwiches for Duke. So you pull out your week 2 book, Sandwiches for Duke. And then you prep again. So I went through all the activities that we like. And then I wrote them down on what days we're going to do it. And I got what I needed, what materials. Honestly, it's usually whatever's lying around in the house that you can do. You never really need to go out above and beyond to get things. And again, the activities all pertain to the book you read. And we did an activity per day. Now, here's the fun part. So one of the activities based on the book Sandwiches for Duke under science was thunder and lightning. And in Come Sit By Me, it just says to explain verbally what thunder and lightning is. But I'm like, you know what? I went on Pinterest and I found a science experiment that showed what thunder and lightning is using storm in a jar. I even wrote it down. See, Pinterest, storm in a jar. And basically you put shaving cream, you put neon paint, and as soon as all the neon paint's absorbed in the shaving cream, it comes down like lightning and thunder, and you can use a black light and do it in the dark. And it was really fun to do. See, that's how you can alter the activities. Like they can just spark ideas in your mind. So it's not like rules that you have to follow. It's basically guidelines, and you can do it the way you want to do it. And again, it was fun for all three of us. There was paint, there was shaving cream, there was art. It was great. Another art thing to do was look to the sky. And like, you know, the sky in the book the author used was relative to how the characters were feeling. So I got my kids to paint the sky. My older child painted it how he felt, and my younger child basically splattered pink everywhere, but it was a lot of fun. And once you get the hang of it, so then on Tuesdays again, you go back, you can just mark it with a little sticky, and it'll say what to do during week 2 for your unit book. During the second week, help your child create a sequin poem. And it tells you how to create a sequin poem, because I for sure have never created a sequin poem. And the end result of our shape book was like this. And basically that is how this curriculum works. It has a bunch of activities, 4 weeks or 5 weeks worth, and then you pick and choose and you make it fit your family. So I'm just going to show you some activities that I chose that we did that I was able to include both ages. So as you can see, this unit, the poetry unit, was surrounded by pets, a lot of it. So one of the books was called Pussycats Everywhere, and it had 37 cats. And so they made a collage together, my kids. They made these together, these pasta thingies. Again, it was very simple to do, and we used them as Christmas decorations. My son learned how to alphabetize. There was names of the cats I printed out, and then you had to put them in alphabetical order. Again, all these ideas came simply from this Come Sit By Me book. Another unit that my son really, really liked was the Inuit unit. And some of the things we made were inukshuks. So again, like, you don't have to make an nukshuk. You can probably just drive up north to find one, but we made them. His looks like a real man, and it's on white because they're usually on snow. I can't tell you what my daughter's looks like, but she tried her best, and it's pink, right? And that's great for a 3-year-old, honestly. There was also, for example, it talks about the Inuit diet. And basically, I came up with the idea to do the salmon life cycle with my son. And, you know, so this book, I find this book, one of the downfalls, doesn't include the internet a lot. So for the Inuit unit, what I did was I was using it basically to teach my son how to use Google to research. So the Inuit unit book was a dictionary book. So it wasn't a shape book like this. It was a simple book like this. I just put our Inuit dictionary, put paper in, and he would fill it out each week. But I also used this unit as a way to teach him how to use Google to properly research things. So one of them was the salmon life cycle. We would watch a National Geographic video on salmons, and then I would print out a bunch of things from the internet, laminate them, and teach him. And again, here it says you can go to a fish market. And I just went and did this step because, like I said, you can gear it to whatever you want. Because it's whatever works for you. Same with the Canada unit. I mean, I finished it off. It doesn't say to do this, but this was a great puzzle that both my kids put together. There's just basically, that's what I love about this, is it's a very flexible curriculum once you get the hang of it. The hardest thing for me was basically, I guess, organizing it, like realizing that there has to be a unit book you create with your child for that whole unit, but there's a different book you read every week and do different activities. But they're all tied together, obviously, as you can see. So it's a great curriculum. If you want to send me a message, you can. I also have the benefit of knowing the person who put this curriculum together. And she was able to help me anytime I needed suggestions and showed me examples as well. And I'm sure you can reach out. So that is my review on Come Sit By Me, Volume 1, Revised Edition. Thank you.